Good morning. This is the AFL Hour with Liam and Jeff on 90.7 Swingburn on Sin. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning, Liam. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing great. So, 3 rounds to go on this season. It's now hotter than ever, with 5 teams has the possibility of finishing first.
Oh yeah, it's a very close season. I can't wait till we get to the final series. It's around the corner, really.
Oh yeah, well, Hawthorn losing and Adelaide jumping up.
Yeah. And the Swans percentage was massive, but we're going to talk a little bit about that towards the end of the show.
Yes, I'm also going to talk about should a Saints legend, should have he played on in 2017, should he hang up the boots this year? Also, we'll talk about the Coleman medal and the Brownlow predictor coming up. To Swingburn on Sin 90.7. So Jeff,
Wait a sec. Am I on the air?
You are on the air.
All right, cool.
I apologise. I did not have Jeff's mic on last time. Seems to be a common thing with me. I'm trying to steal the spotlight, as you know.
Listen to Liam on Swinburne on air.
Liam and a distant voice.
That's equivalent to me just standing in a tunnel and just screaming at you during a radio show. Sorry, there. He's Liam McGrady, beginning the AFL Hour. Proceed.
Thank you. All that, Liam. I want my crown, and I want to be, a pretty prince. Let's go through the round. On Friday, I remember I tipped Collingwood to smash Richmond. Well, I was wrong. Richmond getting over Collingwood.
Yes.
And the fun fact of the week, this is the 3rd week in a row where Collingwood has scored the same amount of goals and points.
Yeah, that's weird for me. Do you know the official scorelines? What were they?
It was Richmond 14-8-92 to Collingwood 11-11-77.
11-11-77. That's a great shop name, 11-11.
Yeah.
Hey, where'd you go? I'm just going to get a Slurpee from the 11-11-77.
The week before, they kicked 13-13, and the week before that, they kicked 12-12.
That's all right. I like that. It's good consistency. Well, we got some form of consistency in the league at the moment. So
Yeah.
good job, Buckley. But we'll get there.
Then we go over on Saturday. Sydney Swans got a good percentage boost after smashing Port Adelaide. Melbourne has won probably their biggest win since the 2000 prelim final.
Yeah, probably. Or Neil Danaher's last game as a coach. That was the last big one.
With Melbourne for me at the moment, they've got to stop treating them like babies. Yay, what a win! If they want to be a serious contender, they've got to stop having those. Yay, what a win!
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one. This is all reliant on a form of professionalism in the game. I applaud Paul Roos for all of his done. Like, if you really look at that list as he first came in, he left probably about 8 or 9 players, and he kept trading. So he's a terrific coach, and he really made that club a professional list. But how are they going to become a professional list, Liam? They just got to start winning consistent games. They got to start stringing 3 games in a row consistently.
Yeah, let's remember this is the same Melbourne that lost to Essendon.
It is in a sense. Well, that was early in the year. They had a bad slump, and you can say maybe we're gonna say in the future, hey, that's Hawthorn who lost to Melbourne. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every team has that bad game. Every team has that amazing game. But I really do think if Melbourne want to really pick up their game and really be seen as a professional side, they got to A actually make the 8th next year, and B, they got to win more consistent games, not 1 every 2 games.
Actually, yeah, that's my thing with Melbourne. Their best and worst, there's no in between. You either have their best performance or you have their worst.
You either have their inspirational performance when they're just finding loose balls all over the field and really running into the 50, and then you have those ones when they're just splitting the ball. Now, I don't know if that's a confidence thing, if it's a mental thing, I'm not sure. But overall, they've got to get their act together because I can see them making the 8 next year. Then
we go on to up the Gold Coast in what I say was probably the game of the season. GWS just defeated Gold Coast. And another funny fact, from the first quarter, Gold Coast led by 6 points. At half-time, Gold Coast led by 6 points. And 3/4 time, have a guess how much Gold Coast led by?
I'm going to say 6.
Yes.
I'm going to say 6, great, Daniel.
But unfortunately, GWS won by 8, which is kind of destroying the 6-point thing.
Yes.
But I think it was a good old 2016 version of a shootout with Lynch with 4 goals and Cameron with 4 goals.
Oh, that was good.
That's how a shootout will be now in 2016. Not like back in the days when Dunstall would kick 11 and Ablett would kick 10.
Well, that time that Dunstall kicked 17 goals against Fitzroy, we don't see that anymore. But here's an interesting fact for you right now. Gold Coast had 18 free kicks to the Giants' 8. They had 10 extra free kicks around the ground. Do you think that could have contributed to them leading throughout the game at all?
No, I don't think so. I will take you back to the 2012 grand final.
Yeah.
Where Hawthorn, no surprise to a lot of Hawthorn haters out there, had 22 free kicks to Sydney 12.
I remember that, yeah.
And watching the game, you couldn't really tell. Then we go down to Saturday night. The Doggies defeated North Melbourne in they're probably the battle for 8th spot.
Yes.
Adelaide jumps into 3rd after smashing Brisbane.
Yes.
St Kilda keeps their slim top 8 hopes alive by beating Carlton. I've got a Geelong supporter who messaged me during this game and goes, "It feels like we're losing."
Oh,
In
I
a
don't know
very,
about that.
very a 10-goal win. Even Chris Scott wasn't happy against Essendon. And then to finish the round off, Freo's continuing their really, really poor form this season, losing to the West Coast Eagles.
Let's talk a little bit about this Geelong game because I watched it. Now, your friend said he didn't feel like, and everyone said they didn't feel like they're watching a top 8 team. I mean, I was watching that game, and from a coach standpoint, I do believe that the Geelong Cats, especially in the first half, had a brilliant game plan. Do you know what that was? They trapped the Bombers in their defensive 50, and this is how they did it right. They had 3 loose plays in Hawkins, Guthrie, and also Lonigan, all terrific marks. They were zoning brilliantly. They stood in the middle of the corridor. If the Bombers tried to go left, all the players would run left. If they tried to go right, they would try to run right, and that brutalised them in the end, and that had Bartel get loose balls. So I do think the Geelong Cats, maybe in the second half they dropped off their game, but in the first half, in my opinion, I thought they played brilliantly game plan-wise.
Fair enough. I was quickly go to the ladder after the loss. Now Hawthorn is a loss away from dropping out the top 4 because they do have the lowest percentage out of pretty much every team in the top 8 apart from the Doggies and North. Then you got Sydney and Adelaide and GWS rounding out the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
Just below them you have Geelong, West Coast, Bulldogs and North. And in 9th spot you have St Kilda, which is pretty much all the teams that can make it. And you have Essendon probably now all for the wooden spoon.
Yeah. First one in what, like 100 or something years?
Since 1933.
1933, yeah.
We'll go to the Common Medal. Josh Kennedy, after kicking 7 goals, 2 against Fremantle, has pretty much, you'll say, won the Coleman now. He's 6 goals ahead of Lynch and Buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Buddy kicked 2 goals, 1, and Lynch kicked 4 goals, 1. And in third, you got Eddie Betts on 54. And this is good. On the AFL.com Brownlow predictor, Luke Parker, Dangerfield, and Sloan are all on 23 votes. Dustin Martin's on 22. And Luke Shuey and Jack Stevens are on 19, which will make for a very, very good Brownlow medal night. Hopefully, it's this close.
Do you think they're going to put I can remember when Predators won the Brownlow medal. It was very shocking. Do you think we're going to have a repeat of that?
Well, the Matthew Priddis one was, Ablett got injured halfway through the season, and Nathan Fyfe missed 4 games through suspension.
But, because everyone's backing either Martin or Dangerfield, I really do think they're the top contenders. But do you really see anyone other than those two really just pulling a shocker and just stealing the Brownlow almost?
Well, judging by this, Rory Sloane's up there and Luke Parker, and
I reckon Luke Parker a little bit more than Rory Sloane, in my opinion.
it's amazing how, because we're Victorians, underrated of Rory Sloane and Luke Parker. They both have phenomenal seasons.
They've had phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
There we are. Phenomenal seasons. But I don't think Sloane, watching him throughout the year, I don't think he just had that amazing, the amount of consistent amazing games, the amount of good contested marks, the amount of clearances as the Martins and the Dangerfields and the Parkers. So that's why I'm not backing him at the moment. Look, he's a Brownlow contender. He would finish, you would think, top 10. But at the end of the day, I'm not backing Sloane to win the Brownlow medal. But I reckon, above all, if Dangerfield doesn't win it, I'm going to be pretty shocked. It has to be Danger.
Well, does it though? Actually, we'll talk about it.
If you want to talk about it after the song break, I'm more than happy to talk about it.
Because we're going to go through the Rising Star nomination this week was Josh Dunkley.
Who's he play for?
Western Bulldogs.
Western Bulldogs, okay, yeah.
We'll talk about Hawthorn after this.
Okay. It's an AFL Hour.
You are listening to the AFL Hour on 90.7 Swingburn on SYN. And then the big match of the week with Hawthorn. So, with Hawthorn losing against Melbourne.
Yes.
Now puts them only 1 game clear on top.
Yeah.
And with percentage, they would be, if everyone was on the same amount of wins in the top 8, they would be 6. They've only got a better percentage than Bulldogs and North Melbourne. Are they in danger of now dropping out the top 4?
I don't think they're in danger of dropping out of the top 4. And because look at the next 3 games. 2 of them are in Melbourne and nearly have to fly once. That's to Perth. They got North Melbourne, then West Coast in Perth, and then Collingwood here. You expect them to win at least 2 of those 3 games,
Well, that's
if not all of them.
well, that's the only danger game I think we're all looking at here is the one in Perth. If it was in
Yeah.
MCG, you'll think Hawthorn's got it. But
Yeah. But, looking at the past, though, and, how the Hawks have played in the past, they're terrific in Perth. There's just something about them. They love the hot weather down there, and they can really run the field as well.
Hawthorn's terrific anywhere. Let's
They
all be
are.
realistic about that.
But, I mean, if you watch them in the past in Perth when the pressure's on, they play brilliantly. Sirioli loves playing in Perth. I think it's just because of how long the field is and how he can just run.
Speaking about Cyril, he's quite of a lucky person, isn't he? Him
What?
and Mitchell both getting off from the tribunal.
They did. Do you think he should have gotten time for that? I didn't really see
Oh.
Mitchell's here, but I saw Rioli's one.
Maybe Rioli. I don't think has ever been in trouble with the tribunal.
No, if he was, it was a long time ago.
Yeah,
but,
so that's probably why he got off.
mm,
But Mitchell probably should have got a week.
probably. It was really rough. I remember seeing that Rioli hit where he just ran straight forward and it looked like almost like a forearm to the chest or the lower chin. And then, I mean, just seeing how even like a shirt punch can get you a couple weeks, I would have thought that Rioli probably should have at least got at least a week or maybe 2 games. But I was actually pretty surprised when you told me that he didn't get suspended.
Which, the internet loves when Hawthorn gets off.
Oh, yeah.
Or when Hawthorn
Yeah.
gets a free kick. A Hawthorn player could get absolutely clotheslined and they'll blow the whistle and be like, because it's Hawthorn.
Yeah. We've seen the memes.
Well, there's been probably, 10 cases this year that a player should have been or should not have been suspended, and it's happened.
Yeah.
But just because, it's Hawthorn and
I think
haters
it's just
gotta hate.
Hawthorn. I think it's just I would love to hear an explanation from maybe the tribunal or whatever, because they have certain rules on how certain things happen, and maybe it was because he hasn't been in trouble regularly, and maybe that could help his case a little bit. But I'd like to see a little bit more why it wasn't a clear hit. But I guess that's up to the tribunal. It's not our job to find that stuff out in a way.
Yes. Back to Hawthorn. So as we said, they've got North Melbourne in MCG,
Yes.
West Coast in Perth, and Collingwood in MCG. Go down the ladder. Sydney has St Kilda.
Yeah.
Then they have North Melbourne in Tasmania. And the last time they played in Tasmania, they defeated Hawthorn.
Yeah.
Which doesn't ever happen.
Yeah, it's a rare thing over
But
there.
I think they're, judging by stats, their trouble game would be against Richmond in round 23.
So is this Sydney?
Yeah. Because Richmond has beat them the last 2 times in Sydney.
Yeah.
They beat them already this year.
Yeah.
And, so the only way Hawthorn can drop out the 4 if every other team wins. We go down GWS.
Well, don't they have to lose the next game for
they'll have to
the
lose the game.
points
Yeah.
to jump up? I don't see that happening,
Well, but if they lost, hypothetically here,
hypothetically.
Adelaide has Fremantle,
Mm-hmm.
so that should be another 60-point win. They have Port Adelaide, who I think's given up on the season
Yeah.
after their performance against Sydney. And then they got West Coast. And West Coast don't travel well.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that, but I really do think, because look at the list, because if we know Hawthorn, how Hawthorn played, how Clarkson runs that list, you will know instantly that he is just going to probably brutalise them at training and just tell them to pick up their game, because they got North Melbourne at the MCG. Now, North plays well against the Hawks, but this is a flip of the coin type game. And then they got the Eagles and the Magpies. Both games you would think they could win, unless they have some sort of a pretty bad slump towards the end of the season. But I really do think, legitimately, it is a run for the second spot on the ladder.
I don't know about you, but I actually got a feeling that Geelong and GWS will swap places. I see GWS either losing to West Coast this week. I think they'll defeat Freo, but then they might lose to North Melbourne the week after.
They might lose to North Melbourne. They're becoming this club that's brilliant at playing at their home ground. You know what I mean? Like, remember what West Coast used to be and where Geelong used to be? How they were unbeatable at their home ground? They're becoming that club, and I like that a lot. Now, who are they playing at their home ground? Was it Fremantle? or-
West Coast this weekend, and then Fremantle next weekend.
You see, I can see them beating the Eagles at home. I can seriously see them beating the Eagles at home. The Eagles are in a pretty tough spot, fitness-wise, I think, because they've had some pretty terrible injuries. But at home, the Giants know that ground. They know that the Eagles have to travel from west to east. They have to travel the entire distance of Australia to get to the game. I'm backing the Giants all the way here. If they don't win this game, then Leon Cameron needs to sit down with his coaches, say where are we going wrong with this team because we need to be competitive at finals time.
And I think the big one, because out of all the teams, I was going to talk to you about Adelaide. Adelaide's the only team in the top 8 who hasn't lost a game they should have lost.
What do you mean? So every game they were expected to lose. So they lost against top 8
Well, their
teams.
5 losses have been against North Melbourne when they started 9-0.
Yeah, I remember
The
that
Doggies at Etihad.
Yeah.
They lost against Hawthorn,
Yeah.
which was the last minute goal, and they lost to Geelong twice.
Yeah.
Where you got teams like Geelong who loses to St Kilda, Collingwood, Carlton.
I think it's credit to the coaches as well, the Adelaide coaching staff to keep their team motivated. And also, you got to know, I don't know, everyone looks at the Adelaide team and they say, well, who are their big stars? You know what I mean? But they've got some amazing forward line, like Tex Walker and Betts and
Jenkins, Lynch.
And who's the other small forward? Cameron.
Charlie Cameron.
Charlie Cameron. They got some great players there, and also they got a great midfield with Rory Sloan. We just spoke about Rory Sloan earlier in the program.
Adelaide is definitely premiership contenders.
Because we don't think about it that way because they're in Adelaide. You know what I mean?
Not even that. It's more like Sydney made the grand final in 2014.
Yeah.
Geelong's last one was 2011. Hawthorn's was last year.
Yeah.
Adelaide's was 98.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
And I mean, they got a terrific forward line, and I mean, we spoke about this with the Giants, and it applies to the Crows as well. When you have a team who knows their ground, like off the back of their hand, then they're a team that can make finals. And I think the only way that the Crows can be very, very competitive final times is if they can get as much home games in the final series. And now for them right now, because what are they sitting? They're sitting third. They desperately need that second position so they can at least maybe win the first qualifier and then play the prelim at home. That's the only way they're a great side, but that's the only way I think they can make the grand final if they play all their games at home.
Okay, now let's talk about Geelong. Do you think they have a danger game? Like we said, they've got a habit of playing badly against bottom teams.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Brisbane up in the Gabba.
Yes.
They've got Richmond, and they've got Melbourne in Geelong. And Melbourne beat them last year in Geelong. So, you see them lose. Is there a possibility Geelong could lose any of those games?
Is there a possibility? If they lose against the Lions, I mean that would show me that that team does not deserve to be in the final series. If they lose against the Lions, if they're losing against a team that's had a terrible year, that would be shocking to me. Who else they got? They got the Tigers at the G. The Tigers at the G would be an arm wrestle, I think. If the Tigers can win the next game, then it'll be an arm wrestle for those two teams. The Tigers will come to play, but I do believe they can win that game. And also, I mean, train well. Depending what the ladder looks like by the end of the round, if they decide to rest players, they can surely win the Melbourne game. This is all based on mentally being prepared mentally, not physically. They're a fit side. We know that they're a terrific side. They've got to know when they're playing. They've got to really study their team. Don't underestimate any team, as we found out this season. Everyone's underestimating each other. Don't underestimate a single team. Come to play the game, and you'll make finals, and you'll win easily, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree. After this song, we're going to talk about a St Kilda legend, and should have he or should not have he retired this season. You're listening to Liam and Jeff, the AFL Hour on Swingburn, on SYN 90.7. 0.7 Swingburn on SYN. So Jeff.
Yeah.
The St Kilda legend, the heart and soul, probably the greatest ever St Kilda player. That's including Tony Lockett and Danny Frawley, and all the other legends of St Kilda. Nick Revolt.
Yeah, Saint Nick.
He has signed on.
Yes, that's what they call him, Saint
Yes,
Nick.
well,
yeah.
He has signed on for 2017.
Yeah. For what is it? What are we talking here? 1 year contract?
Yeah, 1 year contract.
Right. Yeah.
He's 33, turning 34.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he should have retired at the end of this season?
I don't think he should have retired. Just because he's still a terrific player, he hasn't really lost his touch yet. But I do think they should have made some changes to his role at the club, and also how he's going to be played at the club. I really think they should have done changes this year, and they probably should be beginning changes next year.
Because the way I see it, when he signed round 12, the St Kilda were 12th, so you didn't know how their season was going to pan out.
Yeah.
Fast forward to round 21, we're in now, and St Kilda is a slim possibility of making the 8. With that being said, I understand it's like Matthew Pavlich. He signed in on last year because he thought Freo had one more chance at the premiership. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, no.
Isn't that a laugh?
That's quite distorting here. Go on.
That's why most Saint Nick Revolt signed on to help this young club.
Yeah.
does the young club now need help? They're
They don't
final
need
contention next year.
help, but I mean, if Nick Grewal was to leave tomorrow, he's not going to leave, but hypothetically speaking, if he was going to leave tomorrow, I mean, the leadership of that club I think will be in a little bit of a disarray. Sorry, one moment. Will be slightly in a disarray, I reckon, because what I really do think is that what should happen over pre-season is they need to have a serious meeting on who's going to be the next captain of that club, because as it stands,
Who do
he
you
is still
think?
the next captain of that club. Who do I think should be the next captain?
I've got Jack Stevens penciled down. Like, not penciled down, like permanent marker.
Oh, yeah. Jack Stevens, I'll agree with you on that. Jack Stevens is pretty good. Craig Bruce, I don't really think he has enough years
Josh
on
Bruce.
him. Sorry, Josh Bruce. Has enough years on him for him to be the captain yet.
I'll tell you who will be a smoky, and he's brilliant season. He'll probably in the top 4 for Saints best and fairest this year. Maverick Weller.
He was very good.
Believe it or not, he got delisted. You gotta
Did he get
remember,
listed?
he got delisted from Gold Coast. Maverick Weller did.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he played for Gold Coast last year. I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah.
Oh, what, 3 years ago now?
Was it 3 years ago? Are you sure?
Yeah, because he was in Saints leadership group last year, and it was like his
Oh,
first
right.
season.
Yeah.
He's had a fantastic season.
He has. But the thing about Rewald is we need to start beginning this whole transition. For me, I think he needs to drop the captaincy immediately to someone who they think it would be a suitable choice. Stevens, yeah. B, I think he should be. Well, he's already been moved, but I think he should permanently be moved out of the forward line.
Because they've got a good forward line. Tim Membry, who's again someone who got delisted. He got delisted from Sydney.
Yeah, well, he was outstanding so far.
Paddy McCarty.
Yes.
If he gets his head right, literally with all the concussions.
Yeah.
And Josh Bruce. They've got a good forward line, plus Jack Billings. Weller can play in the forward line.
And I mean, I'd rather have Nick Rewalt play centre half back, loose man.
Even on the wing. Do a bit of a Richo before his end of career when he used to play on the wing.
Yeah. Just moving out of those key positions, because he doesn't need to be in those key positions anymore. It doesn't matter there. Put some young players in there, because we know they can play the game. And, I mean, if they go right, they can probably make finals next year.
Oh, I think they're in that list of, I think we spoke about when we were on 3SSR.
Yes.
I said Gold Coast is in the mix next year.
Yes.
Melbourne, St Kilda, I would say Collingwood. All those teams are in the mix.
Yeah.
Port Adelaide, I don't know if Port Adelaide's gone up or down. They're confusing for me.
They're all over the place because we don't really see them as a useful side. They just got to work on their game plan next year and positions of players who should be in their list, just etc. You know what I mean? Like right now, for me, is a prime time for the Power to be experimenting. You're not going to make finals. Throw some players in there. See who would you like to keep in the season. Who would you think should be delisted? Try that. Give that a shot.
And now, the issue with St Nick, he falls in that unfortunate category of players, and which St Kilda's got a lot of.
Yes.
The great players who's never won a premiership.
Yeah, Lee Montagne's a big one for me. I think he's been terrific for him.
And they came especially 2009 and 2010, and I think everyone agrees if that game went into extra time in 2010, Nick Weaver will be a one-time premiership player.
I mean, you see it all over, the papers and news stories. You always see that Nick Weaver countlessly says the grand final replay was the most heartbreaking loss he ever suffered. He never says the 2009 loss was the most heartbreaking.
2009, you always see the case. The team that lost the year before usually plays better the next grand final. St Kilda got starstruck in the 2009 grand final. 2010, they should have won. And he falls in that category of Robert Harvey, Nathan Buckley, Matthew Pavlich, Brad Johnson, Lockett, Ablett.
We could say Barry Hall, but he went to Sydney and won the premiership, so he got lucky.
Ablett as well. Go out and they won a premiership.
Oh, yeah.
All these fantastic, legendary players.
Yeah. But, I think he could... Well, he's kicked 30 goals this year, Nick Rewalt, so he's been terrific. So I think play one more season and then begin the transition out. You don't have to play every game of the season. Play a couple in the season to help the team out a little bit and then leave. So he doesn't need to be there in 2018. And
after this now, we're going to talk about, can Sydney win the premiership, or can any other team win the premiership? You are listening to Swingburn on SYN 90.7. You are listening to the AFL Hour on 90.7. Let's start. Okay, so Jeff, you brought it up to me. Do you think Sydney can win the premiership?
I really do think they can. After this past round, you saw the weakness of every side, and then everyone thought the Power game was going to be a close game, and they blew them out of the water. It was absolutely brilliant to watch how Sydney Swans played against the Power.
Like, it was really good because even the last few weeks, we've said that Sydney is in a bit of a form slump after a few close games.
Yes.
But I think they had a form slump at the right time of the year. You don't want to
Yeah.
have a form slump in finals.
No, and I think it's just they've got to look at their side compared to the 2012 side. I'm loving this side better. They got a strong forward line. They got Kurt Tippett who can play in the ruck, and you got to love those young kids, Heaney and Tom Mitchell.
I'm loving Aliyah.
I think it's Aliyah. He just came out of nowhere.
Keep him playing.
Where does he play? Halfback.
Fullback.
Fullback.
That's why Teddy Richards is in the side.
Oh my God! Yeah, well, he's a terrific player. I don't know who works as the scouting over there, but they're doing a brilliant job. They're bringing some terrific players, going to be premiership players, maybe even soon.
See, I love coaches like Longmire and even Beveridge over at Bulldogs to make the tough calls.
Yes.
Beveridge last year cut a few, players you wouldn't drop.
Yeah.
I've been saying for ages, Ross Lyon's biggest issue, especially at Freo, he doesn't drop his best 22.
Oh yeah.
And it seems like this. Like they dropped Ted Richards, they dropped Ben McGlynn, and
And it worked out brilliantly. They brought in some young guys who want to prove that they can play. They got the Saints next week at Etihad Stadium. If it was at the SCG, I would have said Sydney hands down. But you think they're going to go back into that slump against the Saints?
the only issue I have with Sydney is the Buddy factor.
Yes.
The issue when you get a player like Buddy, you kick it to him,
Yeah, that's the issue. And I mean,
he might not even be playing on the weekend.
I mean, you don't need that in your team. I don't know. What was the offer they gave him for the 10-year deal? What was that? 30-something million?
10 mil for 9 years.
10 million for 9 years. Everything about that deal I hated. And I mean, Barry Franklin's great, but at the end of the day, when he played against the Hawks in the grand final 2 years ago, he hurt them because they kept going to him and he didn't play that. He kicked 4 goals. They didn't
Kicked 4 and Rafa kicked 5.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like then you got to compare that with how many goals did they kick overall and why did they lose that grand final. I did not like Buddy Franklin going to that side from the set go, and sorry from the get go. I just messed it all up. From the get go, and I still don't like him there. They got Kurt Tippett, who I think they could have pushed to be the greatest forward of that team.
And then Sam Reid kind of fell in the background and he's been out injured all year.
Yeah.
The only thing I liked about that deal is I didn't go to GWS. Like the big plan was.
Yeah, and I mean that could have hurt GWS massively. They got Mumford. I mean, I reckon Mumford was a bit better pickup than Buddy Franklin.
Well, I don't think Cameron wouldn't be the superstar he is if Buddy was there.
Yeah, he probably would have been in the background. But when you're gonna play like Buddy Franklin for me is a whole lot similar to the factor of Gary Ablett in the Cats
And Lockett.
and
in the
Lockett
Swans.
in the Swans and the Saints. When you got that amazing player, he's great to watch, but he's terrible to have in the side because you don't play as a team.
And that was Frio's issue for years.
Yeah.
Pavlich.
I mean, I still think that the Swans can win the grand final. They're just got to distribute the ball properly than they are at the
I
moment.
think at the moment this year, with Isaac Heaney, I think they're doing much better this year with than sharing around.
Yes.
But, it's a mental thing. If the times are close in a grand final,
You go who can kick a goal if their life depended on it. Go for the guy who has a left boot. That's where you go. But I've got a question for you right now. Where would you play Franklin if you were to go in the grand final? Would you keep him at centre half, or would you throw him around somewhere else to give everyone else?
I'll definitely put Franklin centre half, make
So,
him run because he's got
make
the
him run.
tank.
I'd love to see Franklin move from the centre half forward, move him up to the not the goal square, the centre square, and then have him play from that position. I think that could be beneficial, and then you can put Kurt Tippett or whoever you want in the forward line.
Yeah, I think Sydney's biggest issue is actually their ruck. Apart from Tippett, who has been a phenomenal ruckman, which is weird to say.
Well, he played as a good ruckman for the Crows.
Yeah.
He's terrific for the Crows.
I just think that's probably going to be their biggest issue heading into the finals.
Yes.
I think Geelong's biggest issue is pretty much like Sydney's now
Yes.
with Dangerfield.
Yep.
They're really becoming a one-man team. Even though they're not a one-man team, it's starting to hurt them a bit.
Oh yeah.
I think Hawthorn, if they play against Adelaide or GWS or Bulldogs,
Yep.
when it comes to speed, I don't think they can match them. The old legs will show.
Yeah. Before we go to a song break, I want you to get your opinion real quick. Sydney, are they a grand final side or even a premiership side for that matter, or are they going to fall short?
Sydney, ooh.
It's a tight one this year. It's real tight.
Well, I think we've said this a few times. We count GWS out because they've never made finals,
Yes.
which is fair enough. Then we got Adelaide, Geelong, Hawthorn, and Sydney. 4 teams that can make it. And also, I think 4 teams can make it. I still think the grand final will be Hawthorn, Sydney.
Hawthorn City for round 3.
Yep.
What is it? They're going to be like every second year they're going to play the grand final?
Yeah, that's their thing.
It's a little bit like the Hawks and the Bombers in the 80s.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
they played 3 in a row, but
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Hawthorn and North Melbourne. Well, they played 75, 76, and 78. So there we go. That kind of counts.
Yeah.
And then Magpies in the middle losing grand final. Like seems like be a Magpie thing losing grand finals.
But I'll back to Swans. They just got to stay in form and really look at their game plan before they go in.
Yeah. And it's hard to say, a team who's won 2 grand finals in the last century. Pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. What was it? What was 2 grand finals in 78 years?
Yeah, they won 1933, 2005, 2012.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. But they can I reckon they can make the grand final. They just got to keep a level head. And I reckon their biggest threat, season-wise, not finals-wise, from getting a home final, would be the Adelaide Crows. I really think if the Adelaide Crows, because percentage is there. Percentage-wise, it was 144.2 Sydney, 141.2 Adelaide. So I mean, they got to get that home final, and the people they're under threat by the Crows, but I mean, they can do it if they really want to. They can do it.
I agree. After this, we're going to go through round 21, and we'll wrap things up. You're listening to the AFL Hour on 90.7. You're listening to the AFL Hour with Liam and Jeff on 90.7. 3 rounds to go. The season's gone fast.
Yeah.
So let's go through the round ahead. On Friday night, you got the Doggies taking on Collingwood.
I'm backing the Doggies on that one. I don't know about injuries, but no, I'm going to back the Doggies.
Yeah, but they find the will of the win.
Yeah.
Then we go over to Saturday. You got the Lions taking on Carlton in Brisbane.
Well, that's going to be an interesting one, but the Blues will get up for that one.
I think, the Blues just.
I'm tipping Sylvania to have the best game of the season so far with that game.
Nice. Then we got Hawthorn take on North Melbourne, which now every game's a danger game for Hawthorn.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about the Kangas on that one. But, I'm going to tip the Kangas, but by like 5 points.
Then over in Sydney, we got the Giants take on the Eagles.
The Giants, 100%. I can't back them.
And then Saturday night, you got the Saints take on Sydney, which will be a big game. Hopefully, it's a good game.
Yeah, I think the Swans will win that one.
Then another interesting game. You got the Port taking on Melbourne. The second time this season, Melbourne's won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
They haven't won 3 in a row for years now. I think almost a decade.
Well, it depends on what state.
Adelaide.
I'm going to tip the Power.
Same. And then you got Essendon take on Gold Coast. It's funny, if you ask me this, before Essendon played Brisbane,
You would
when
have
they
tipped
had
the
those-
Swans.
the Swans.
Oh, sorry, you get to the Bombers. Sorry, I got the Swans stuck in my head. You get to the Bombers.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tip. I want to make that game maybe this year, so I'll tip.
So that's something me and my brother say. We go, so Sydney's playing West Coast in the grand final, and the winner is Hawthorn.
Yeah.
I'll tip Gold Coast. I think Lynch will have a field day, kick 7.
Okay. Yeah.
Richmond play Geelong.
I'm going to go with Geelong.
I think Geelong will just win. And unfortunately for Fremantle, they have Adelaide, who I'm thinking another almost 100-point win coming for them.
It has to be. If nothing short, will be disappointing on Adelaide's part.
Yes. And that's all we have for today. Hopefully, I'll be back tomorrow. What about you, Jeff?
I'm not on tomorrow.
You are listening to the AFL Hour on 90.7.